translation with a small purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prabhupada. Vasudev said, my dear brother-in-law Kamsa, you are the pride of your family. The Bhoja dynasty and great heroes praise your qualities. How could such a qualified person as you kill a woman, your own sister, especially on the occasion of her marriage? Purport. According to the Vedic principles, a Brahman, an old man, a woman, a child, or a cow cannot be killed under any circumstances. Vasudeva stressed that Devaki was not only a woman but a member of Kamsa's family. Because she was now married to Vasudeva, she was Parastri, another man's wife. And if such a woman were killed, not only would Kamsa be implicated in sinful activities, but his reputation as a king of the Bhoja dynasty would be damaged. Thus, Vasudeva tried in many ways to convince Kamsa in order to stop him from killing Devaki. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Malitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangalam Gayate Girim. Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. By the mercy of the spiritual man, the spiritual master, a lame man can cross mountains. By the mercy of the spiritual master, a blind man can see stars in the sky, and by the mercy of the spiritual master, a dumb man like me can speak eloquently. I offer my humble obeisances to the feet of my spiritual master. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestha Bhutale Shimate Tamala Krishna Goswamini Tinamine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestha Bhutale Shimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavad Paskara Desatarane. And my humble obeisances to all of you. Vanchakalpadrubhescha Kripasindubhya Evacha Ditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So Srila Prabhupada is stressing in the purport the how to avoid this sacrilege, this ugra karmic activity of killing women, children, old people, cows. These are all forbidden from any religion's point of view. Isn't it? I don't think there is any religion that will approve this type of killing. Well, maybe the Christians, they used to, but anyway, but yes, the Christian, what I'm saying, the other religions, they approve the cow killing because they see the cow as an ordinary animal. This is the mentality of a demoniac person, that it actually doesn't know what to do and what not to do. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna defines such a personality like pravritim cha, navritim cha, jnanana vidurasura, nasaucham napichacharo. What is it? Nasatyam tesha vidyate. That a demoniac person, he doesn't know what to do, what to be done, and what not to be done. Pravritim cha, navritim cha. He doesn't know what is good, what is bad. He doesn't know how to discriminate because he's influenced by the mode, passion, and ignorance. And there is no goodness in the consciousness of such a person. So Kamsa here, he was not just killing someone, but even to the point of killing his own sister, family member. And that should be the primary duty of a brother, to protect the family. The big brother, he was the first son, Kamsa, to protect the father, the mother, the sister. But you can see here that the pride, when it comes pride comes from fear. It says in the Nectar of Devotion, when someone is feeling insecure, afraid, so therefore then from a fear of losing things, fear of attachment, fear of losing a position, fear of losing your own life, fear of that someone is better than you, fear of losing something, that pride comes. Pride comes as a defense mechanism to protect the fearful person. Does it make sense? And because Krishna, the providence from the sky gave a projection. He said, Kamsa, you are leading the chariot of your sister, but little you know that the hate child of your own sister will kill you, will be the cause of your death. And Kamsa became very afraid. So the pride covers up everything. That's why Srila Prabhupada, in one purport of the Bhagavatam, he says that a devotee should close the gates of pride. The gates of pride, because they're like gates, and open up the window of knowledge. Pride is it's an enemy for the self, for other living entities. It's because of pride that there is so much war in this world. It is a defense mechanism. So you can see that on the other hand, the devotees, they think, why should I kill? Killing is sinful. Even in the seventh commandment, thou shalt not kill. Of course, the Christians, they changed it now. Thou shalt not murder, they put in, isn't it? So, not just women, children, old people, cows, they should not be killed, but any living entity should not be killed. If you have the power of creating a form or a living entity, then you can kill, destroy. Like Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada told the Archbishop in Rome. Archbishop was asking why the animal killing is forbidden in your religion. Prabhupada said, because they are created by God. If you have the same power like God to create another cow, then you can kill the cow. But then Prabhupada said, but we are so foolish because we can't even create a blade of grass in the so-called laboratory of the scientist organization. So if we can create, then we can destroy. But because Krishna is the cause of all causes, he can create, so therefore he can destroy. Even Arjuna he didn't even, Kshatriya. The Kshatriya tendency is to protect and to attack. Kshat means to attack, and Triya means to protect. Not just women, children, Brahmins, but he wanted to protect his own members of the family, of his own family. He didn't want to kill. He had no enmity towards them. He didn't want to kill his cousins, uncle, grandfather. And he, practically speaking, the 90% of the army of the Kauravas, they were all related to Arjuna on his mother's side. They were all members of his family. See, this is the heart of a devotee, because he knew that he was lamenting to Krishna. Adharma bhi bhavat Krishna pradusyanti kulastriya strisu dustashu varshneya jayate varnasankara. If I kill all these men, then they will be left with the women, they will be left with no sons, no husbands. And what will be of the society? People, they will be taking advantage of single lady, like you can see nowadays. Single ladies, they take advantage and they create a progeny. And that progeny is none other than Varna Sankara, low class progeny, unwanted children. So that was the thinking of Arjuna. So devotees should be like that. Before he get into any nonsense, he should think, what is the consequence of my action? So you could see that Devaki, she was not defending herself. She didn't see Kamsa as her own enemy. She was, if you read in the Bhagavatam, Shishirada Gokulananda Ki Jai, she was completely depending on the mercy of her brother. If you want to kill me, then what to do? She was completely surrendered to Krishna. It was an incentive to surrender more and more to Krishna. Like Kunti also. Let all these calamity come. But she never had a tinge or a feeling of hatred towards the Kauravas. Kunti Devi. So much was done to her children. They tried to burn them up in the house of lac. They tried to poison them, to kill them. Even though they killed the children of the Pandavas while they were sleeping. But what was the prayer? The prayer of Kunti was actually after the battle of Kurukshetra. It was not before. Devotees, they should understand this. Because she went through a lot of suffering. And what was her prayer? Prahlad Maharaj also, same thing. He was tortured so much on the account of the rage of his father. But he didn't have a crumble of revenge feeling or anger in his heart. When the Lord asked him for a benediction, he said, let my father achieve liberation. So this is a devotee. Devotee sees the enemy as a lesson. What is it? There is a very old say of Saint Francis. No man is my enemy, no man is my friend, every man is my teacher. I was brought up in a Catholic Franciscan monastery, and there's so many beautiful quotes, that are there. Jesus, same thing, please, my Lord. When he was crucified, can you imagine? He had nails in his feet, in his hands, and he was just about to perish, and he raised his head and he said, my dear Lord. He prayed, that's where the prayer of our Father, the famous prayer. I don't know how is it in English, but in Italian I know. But anyway, so he said, please forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. So this is the devotee. You can see the consciousness of someone who is with pride and someone who is devoid of pride. Pride is it always leads to destruction. No matter how high you are, even if you are a saintly person, but if you are infected by pride, then it will be the cause of your fall down. It's not Krishna that punishes us, but it's the feeling of pride that doesn't go well with our consciousness, doesn't go well with the spiritual life. It's like you try to mix oil and water. Mixing pride and devotion doesn't go together. Krishna says, either you occupy your heart with pride, or you clean it up and then I'll come and sit on it. So, what is it? Another say of, this one is from Jesus. Humble man, the one who is humble is praised. No, one who humbles himself is praised, and one who praises himself will be humbled. Right? So this is a pride. Pride, it's a very formidable enemy that it will destroy us. I don't want to say it will destroy you, but it will destroy me, anybody or anyone who becomes influenced by this feeling of pride. Once I asked Tamal Krishna Maharaj, the first time I entered Vrindavan, I said, what is the feeling? What is the mood of entering Vrindavan? Because he's my spiritual master, and the Guru gives the right mentality. He guides you how to enter. Because to enter in Vrindavan doesn't mean geographically, you enter and you see the Loi Bazaar and all, everything. Entering Vrindavan means entering the core of your heart. Try to find Krishna. So he said two things. You have to think that everyone is better than you and you are less than everyone else. If you live with this mentality, then you are in Vrindavan, wherever you are. That was the mentality of Srila Prabhupada. He told always, everyone better than me, and I am. Even in his prayer on the Jaladuta, I've got no qualification, nothing. Prabhupada didn't just say it to display some kind of artificial humility, but he really felt like that. See, the devotee more advancing in Krishna consciousness means discovering how fallen we are. One day I had do you want to hear one of my greatest realization? I woke up one morning after 30 years in so-called Krishna consciousness. I woke up one morning and I realized how fallen I am. That was my biggest realization in Krishna consciousness. And more you advance, more you discover that we are insignificant. We are Anu. Krishna is Vibhu. He's the greatest. More you advance, the more you realize how small you are and how great is Krishna. But when we are proud with how great we are and how everyone else is less than me. Oh, Krishna, it's less than me, whatever. So, intelligence in Krishna consciousness, that's what it means. Buddhi yoga, upashritam, machita, satatam bhava. One who is intelligent understand He understands the intelligence of Krishna. Buddhi yoga. Yoga means a link. And then he starts to act with the devotion. Then he understands that we are all instruments of Krishna. We've been created by Krishna for his pleasure. Everything that exists in spiritual world and the material world is being created by God to give him pleasure. And every personality has a purpose. Even all the incarnations, when you see in the Bhagavatam, in the pictures, you shouldn't see them separated from Krishna. They're actually Krishna. They're part and parcel of, the Dasya avatar, for example. Jayadeva Goswami explained. What is the symbolic representation of Buddha? Buddha is the intelligence of Krishna. What is the representation of the incarnation of Ram? Represents the conduct, spotless conduct of Krishna. What is the incarnation of Balaram? Represents the strength of Krishna, is the power of Krishna. Nishingadev is the anger of Krishna. All the qualities of Krishna, they assume personalities. Srimati Radharani, she represents the happiness of Krishna, the internal potency of Krishna. If you separate Radharani from Krishna, then God becomes very miserable. But of course you cannot separate it, because God, it's made out of male and female. That's why Radha and Krishna, they're the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu represents those two personalities. The Purusha avatar, the enjoyer, and the Shakti avatar, the female energy who is always bringing pleasure to Krishna. So the understanding of the devotee is that I've been created by God for a purpose. And what is my purpose? Is to give him a pleasure. And today I was asked also to blend my class with some Sankirtan message to try to inspire myself and the book distributors to spread Krishna consciousness. What is the purpose of our existence? Is to give a pleasure to Krishna in this material world and also when we are in the spiritual world. Now there is two kinds of pleasure that we can bring to Krishna. In the Narada Bhakti Sutra is mentioned that the worship of Krishna, it's very important, extremely important. You cannot minimize it. That gives Krishna pleasure because you are showing your bhakti to the Lord, your service mood. But there is something, another service, another function, how to bring a pleasure to Krishna. And it's not necessarily the worship of Krishna, but the worship or the help, worship of other living entities, the worship of those who are dear to Krishna, which is all the lost and souls, which means preaching. Now, preaching, Srila Prabhupada has given us the mission, and it can be activated in the form of prasadam distribution, chanting the Harinam, book distribution. When you give a book to someone, you are actually giving the kingdom of God to that person. You're giving everything, the knowledge, God. You're giving they're like the maps, this book. They tell the way how to get out of this material world. They tell you the way how to go back home, back to Godhead. So that service, it's very, very important to Krishna. And he becomes even more pleased. Not because I'm saying today, sitting on this Vyasasan, and I'm abusing my position, but I'm actually quoting from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Shastra. Krishna himself, he said, one who thinks he is my devotee is not my devotee. But one who thinks himself devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. Now what does that mean? Does that mean that we are sitting here, we are devotees, and outside there, all the conditioned souls, they're all demons? No, they're all devotees of Krishna. They're lost. That's why the whole concept of the prodigal son. If you understand the story of the prodigal son, then you are a book distributor. Because prodigal son means, someone who was with God, but now is lost, is away from God. And God very much wants him. Now, Lord Chaitanya came himself to do that, to teach us how to preach, how to claim the conditioned souls from this material world. He came as a devotee. He didn't come as God to perform a Sankirtan. So therefore, an intelligent person, he also will understand the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Let me help him. And Prabhupada did that. He could have gone back home, back to Godhead, by being in Vrindavan, ringing the bell, and worshipping Radha Damodar. But he didn't do that. He thought there was something more important. Of course, Krishna wouldn't have, it doesn't, even if Prabhupada wouldn't have come to the West, the only losers was not him, was us. We would have been the losers because we wouldn't be here, sitting here. But Krishna, at the same time, I don't think Prabhupada would have lost any sympathy from Krishna because Krishna is not a revengeful person. Either you preach or you are not my devotee. He's very liberal. If you like to worship the Lord, that's fine. That's very good. That's fine. But as long as you don't criticize those who are out there and trying to do something to the Lord for the conditioned souls. There are some devotees, two types of devotees, the fanatical book distributors. They think they're better than the pujari in the temple. But again, as I said it before, this is the most degraded realization that you can have in preaching. If you think you are better, then you're a kanista. You're not better than some, because that's a criticism. The quality of criticism is quality of pride. When you think that you're better than others, that's it. That's your disqualification. On the other hand, those who do not preach and they worship the Lord, if they criticize, they say, no, wait a minute, everything is equal. Every service is equal. That's fine, you can say that. But still, Prabhupada emphasized, the Shastra, they emphasized the importance of preaching. Sukadeva Goswami, when he preached to Maharaj Parikshit, it was not just for that audience. The whole Bhagavatam came about, the book, Bhagavat. It was manifested, the personality of God. This Bhagavatam is meant, to go in the lap of the conditioned souls. Sukadeva Goswami, Maharaj Parikshit, they thought for the future, for the benefit of the entire society. So, I don't think, because sometimes devotees, they get caught up. Even on Prabhupada's disappearance day, I don't want to mention names or anything. Sometimes I hear, this competition. Book distribution, is the... No, deity worship, they are both equal. The thing is, this is the month to emphasize book distribution. And if some devotees glorify Srila Prabhupada by glorifying his activities, of glorifying, this mission, that's correct. There is nothing wrong to emphasize book distribution at this particular month, authorized month by Srila Prabhupada. The marathon was not just something mundane. It was discovered at the time of Srila Prabhupada and is the month of giving. So we should embrace this mood of giving. There is a devotee who doesn't do anything. As long as they don't criticize, they advance, they can go back home, back to Godhead. As long as they don't criticize those who are doing something. What is it? If you don't do anything and you don't criticize, you are better than those who are criticizing. So something is better than nothing. Of course, more is better than something. So what is more? Everything is important in Krishna consciousness. My wife, she worships the deities. I cannot criticize her for worshipping the deities, and she doesn't have a good health to go out and do book distribution. So I do it. So we balance things like that. Deity worship is very important. They go hand to hand. And also preaching, it's important. But we're all part of the Sankirtan movement. The head, is like the pujaris. They worship Lord Krishna. The hands, they're like the managers, the GBC of ISKCON. The administration. They're all part of the body. You have the heart. The heart is like the Srila Prabhupada said, book distribution is the beating of my heart, represents my heart. ISKCON is my body. So Srila Prabhupada's body is actually a Sankirtan body. This is a Sankirtan movement. So whatever we do, we cook, we take care of the cows, it's all for supporting preaching. Book distributors, they're on the front line. It's more risky. They require more courage. Not that sometimes a senior man comes up and says, no, it's equal like any other service. It's not good to discourage, especially someone who is trying, to do something, to go out there and to not just be a tempo devotee, to go out there and do something, to fulfill the desire of Srila Prabhupada. So encouraging words we want, not words that create a controversy. And then those type of devotees, sometimes they come up with a quote. Prabhupada said it is equal, everything is equal. Or Prabhupada says, book distribution, it's actually something that we have created. But here, we're destroying the reputation of ISKCON. That there are some devotees, they bring down the spirit of preaching, Harinam or book distribution or whatever it is. So, and you see them, they're always equipped with one or two weapons. That's all it is. One or two quotes where Prabhupada says, everything, it's equal. But we have to understand, the context of it. Everything is equal, that's fine, that's true, but still, Srila Prabhupada emphasized the book distribution. And today, it's my service to emphasize it. Authorized by the GBC. So if I get criticized for this, don't criticize me. Criticize the GBC. The people who put me in charge to emphasize book distribution. It's not a kind of fanatical attempt, but at the same time, we should never think that we are better than any other department. Everything is equal in that sense in the eyes of Krishna. We are all useful and nobody is necessary. Every service, it's important. Srila Prabhupada has given us the institution and the mission. Some, they take care of the institution, and And those who take care of the institution, they are supporting the missionary work. Because ultimately we are trying, to make devotees. What was the last quote, I'm going to say, in The Servant of the Servant, when Srila Prabhupada was presented in Mayapur by Tamal Krishna Maharaj with a group, about 15 or 20 devotees, made from a book distribution, Radha Damodar party. So they were all dressed very nicely with the garlands, and they all had a rose in their hands. They one by one, they came in Srila Prabhupada's room. Prabhupada had the tears in his eyes. And you know what Prabhupada says? Said, you see, Krishna is happy to see when we offer him garlands, when we offer him prasad, that's fine. But he becomes most happy when we offer him garlands of people, devotees. And that particular section was called the Garlands of Devotees. And they were all like a ring, all around Prabhupada. Prabhupada had the tears in his eyes. So it's very important to preach. One who preach, he has a life. And very good devotee, he does both. Because everything goes hand to hand. Deity worship and preaching. What is it? Pancharatma Vidi and Bhagavad Vidi. So both they go hand to hand. But I still say that the leading hand is preaching. Haribol. So, there's any questions?